Hello friends, it's good to see you here on my channel again. In today's video, we're going to talk about beginner meditation tips and some mistakes that you will want to avoid. I know that you are probably interested in meditation because you want to relax your mind and body. Perhaps you are trying to manage some intense emotions. Maybe you are trying to spark your creativity, or you may be wanting to develop more self-love and awareness. But if you're not aware of these mistakes, you can be misunderstanding what meditation is about, and you might be saying things like meditation just isn't working for me, or it's boring, or I don't have enough time to do it. So if you are saying these things, if you are feeling like you aren't getting anywhere with your meditation practice, then definitely stay tuned in, because I will be addressing all these concerns and helping you to move forward more confidently with your practice. I'm Brandy Falcon of Falcon Healing Arts, and I've been teaching meditation for over 20 years. It's a major part of the online holistic healing sessions and coaching that I do with women who are wanting a healing breakthrough. So it is an important piece of how they move through their anxiety, disconnection, disempowerment to get to a place of joyful ease. And I also have a ton of meditation and other self-care practices on this channel. So if that is something you are interested in to start you on your self-healing journey, then consider subscribing to this channel and hit the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any of my future videos. So there are 3 mistakes that I want to go over, and after listing each one, I'll offer you a wellness tip and solution. It's important to approach it from this perspective because it is oftentimes something that we are doing that is blocking our success. So we have to move out of our own way and seek understanding in our meditation practice in order to reap all the benefits. And mistake number 1 is the one I see most often, and this is just misunderstanding what meditation is, or having incorrect assumptions or expectations. So when I hear someone say that meditation isn't working for them or it's too hard for them, I know that this is probably the reason why. So we have heard for some reason that meditation is about clearing the mind, and people think that they need to be feeling joyful or peaceful throughout the whole process, and that is not what it is about at all. So meditation is the process. It's not a stagnant state of mind. We're focusing on the present moment, and your mind always has activity. There's always something to notice in your environment as well. And so it's more about mindfulness, about paying attention to what is happening in the moment. Again, there is always going to be something there. And that is what I love about meditation. It actually makes it easy because there is always an anchor that you can attach the mind to in order to stay focused. But this is a loose attachment. And so the process is noticing when the mind becomes distracted. Perhaps it's gone into the past, bringing up thoughts and feelings about some event that's occurred. Perhaps it is fantasizing about the future. And it's really interesting to see where the mind goes. And the process is just noticing where it went and then coming back to your anchor. Oh, it went this way this time, and we bring it back to the anchor. So the process is constantly realigning and adjusting. And that's what balance is all about. It's not achieving this static state where everything is still. It's adjusting, bringing more attention to where it's needed. And for meditation, it's in the present moment. So the anchors that we can work with are body sensations that are always changing. It could be with thoughts or feelings, which I consider to be a more advanced practice. You can be focusing on sounds in your environment, or maybe it's watching the breath moving in and out through the nose, or filling and emptying your chest and belly. So your mind does get calm as these oscillations and distractions start to lessen over time. But again, in order to get there, we need to know what to expect. We need to know that this takes practice and is part of the process. So my first meditation tip here to resolve this is not only just understand what meditation is, but approach your practice with a playful, joyful, even curious attitude, and let these oscillations happen and just watch and see if it starts to lessen, and you'll know that you're progressing once you have longer periods of attention. And you will also start to see that in your outer world, that this peace that comes with opening up to what happens in the meditation practice, allowing it to be, allowing to adjust, you're going to be able to do that easier in your life. Mistake number 2 is judging your experience. So when someone is saying that meditation is boring or they have better things to do, I know that this is probably the thing that we need to focus on, is judging the experience too harshly. So we all have preferences and prejudices, and this is revealed to us in a meditation practice. This is why this is a self-development practice, because we learn so many interesting things about us, including the habits of our mind, that we can then consciously shift. And when we are being ruled by our preferences and prejudices, so we're only attracted to and engage with the things that we find entertaining or stimulating or pleasurable, and we avoid completely the things that challenge us, that are uncomfortable and unpleasant, when we don't want to look at that, then our world gets very, very small. And we do this with people in our relationships too, only engaging with certain people. So it is more helpful for us, and I believe that this is a huge life lesson for us, to open up more fully to our experience in life. So this means to open up to all experiences, even the unpleasant, just as equally as those things that we love. And my teacher says, quite frankly, at some point, we're all going to be confronted with losing something that we love dearly. And this meditation practice helps to prepare for that. And knowing that in the background, that we can treat every life experience as being precious, as being very worthwhile. And meditation is, again, all about observing the self. So what are you saying when you're saying that meditation is boring, or that you have something better to do? Let's look at this honestly. It's meaning that you don't like what you're seeing, or you're not thinking that it's worthwhile, that there are other things that are more important to you. So very, very important to look at this one. What are you saying when you do say that? Because this is an opportunity to use your meditation practice to develop more self-love and understanding. So let's not blame the practice, but instead see this as an opportunity for us to redirect. Again, align with a realistic expectation of this practice, that things are going to come up that you enjoy, and some things are going to come up that you don't. And the more that you open up to this, the more tolerant you're going to be of those thoughts and feelings and this experience of yourself. You're going to be able to tolerate things that happen in your life life more as well. And that in itself brings inner peace. So my tip for resolving this is, of course, to practice without judgment, to approach the practice again with this open curiosity. Maybe go in wondering what is going to show up for me today. I am so curious to see what is here, what I can work with. And it's always good to have something to work with because that is going to strengthen your focus as an anchor for the moment. Welcome any patterns that you may see, habits of the mind, because this is helping you to learn and to move forward. This is progress when you notice it. So please don't misunderstand that if you experience something unpleasant, that it means there is something wrong with the practice or with you. It means that it is working when you start to notice more of anything. Mistake number 3 is only meditating under certain conditions. So when someone says that they don't have enough time or they can't meditate because they don't have enough privacy, that they could only do it when their kids are asleep, when their husband's not snoring, or any other excuse as to why they can't meditate. Meditation is about opening. It's about being receptive and being inclusive of anything that is happening in the present moment. Even though we are focusing on one particular anchor at a time, you can still let your attention fluctuate from one anchor to another. And it doesn't need to be something still that you're focusing on. In fact, I find it much, much easier to focus on something that is moving or to include sounds or other things in the environment that are constantly changing. This also helps train up your mind to be able to drop into a meditative state whenever you need to. So meditating if your kids are loud playing in the other room, or if your dog comes up and starts licking your arm, these can all be features of the moment that does not need to flavor it in a negative way. It's all how you're reacting to it. So let's talk about quickly the distinction between a distraction that is mindful versus unmindful, about a reaction versus a response. Say with this dog licking incident, if the dog comes up to you as you're in your meditation and starts licking your arm, and you're thinking that this is ruining your experience, then you're going to get up and perhaps yell at the dog, put the dog outside, and maybe just say, that ruined it all, and stop. I'm being overdramatic, I know. But I just want to show you a big difference here, and you can find the middle ground. Instead, as the dog is licking your arm and you're in this nice meditative state, you can still be annoyed, but you're noting, I'm annoyed, the dog is licking my arm. Do I want to stay with this or not as a feature of this moment? No? Okay. Then you mindfully get up and put the dog outside and come back and sit. So it is a mindful response. And something really simple like this is easy to work with. And you could see how as you do this over and over, how it becomes more second nature when things come up that are unexpected, that may break you from your peace in life. You know how to handle it in a mindful, responsive way. And so here is a big tip for you if you are constantly distracted and thinking that things need to be the exact perfect conditions for you to meditate. Try a different type of meditation. Try an active meditation. I actually had to do this for myself when I was a new mom 12 years ago. I did not have the capacity to sit still, and I didn't have the capacity to focus on myself for long periods of time. But I realized that consistency mattered more. So I did commit to doing something mindful every day, but it was not a 30-minute seated meditation. I did something else that was still very helpful as a new mom, and I did not feel like I was a failure because it was different than what I used to do before I had a child. So things that you can do instead are mindfulness breathing practices that are extremely meditative. So Nadi Shodhana breathing or doing the 9 clearing cycles would be a perfect substitute for a seated meditation. You can do a walking meditation instead. I have a good blog post on that you can read, and that will help you out. Qigong and Tai Chi are mindful movements that can help focus the mind and create inner peace while actually regulating the qi in the body. So they are perfect and lovely to add to your self-care practice. And consider using sound as an anchor for your meditation if you are doing a seated meditation. Again, I find this super easy to sit down when my husband has the TV on, when my son's playing a video game, because I can let the sounds come in, and as long as I'm staying out of a judgmental mind, with a reactive emotional response, then it's much easier to focus. So I can still be noticing, wow, that's really loud, and oh, this is happening in the news, or someone just scored a basket or a goal, and I can still be noticing that that happened, and then just keep opening up to whatever else is happening moment to moment. That is still meditation. That is still open receptivity. That makes you a better listener too, and to show up in the world fully, regardless of any conditions and inclusive of all circumstances. You'll feel more successful with your meditation practice when you let go of those unrealistic expectations of what you think meditation is supposed to look like. And as long as you're still seeing shifts in your life about how you're reacting versus responding, you know it is working. And this realization will constantly reinforce your commitment to doing the practice. So there are many more mistakes and tips that I could offer, but these are the main 3 that are going to get you really far in your practice. I hope this has cleared up any confusion you may have. I hope that the tips are supportive. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment about your meditation experience, and please share this video with a friend who you may think could really use this guidance. I am so grateful to connect with you all here. Before you go, check out these other videos. Again, I have an extensive playlist of guided meditations, yoga, and breath work that can further support you in your wellness journey. And look at the information in the description below if you want to work with me more personally. Have a great rest of the day. Well wishes, friend.